Hello and welcome to episode 11 of All Five Rounds. My name is Kyle Keefe, and as always, I'm joined by my esteemed co-host, as you can see right there, Daren Loucks. We've been away for a bit. We're happy to be back. We got a ton to talk about, starting with Bellator 206, and what I thought was Gegard Mousasi's very surprising upset win over Rory McDonald. I didn't expect him to get dominated like that. I'm curious, what did you think of that fight? I know obviously I was wrong. I picked Rory McDonald to win. What did you think of that fight?
Man, I was with you. I thought Rory was going to win it too. Like you said, it was a dominant win by Musasi. It was when I was watching the fight, I was kind of wondering, like, does he have him hypnotized or something? And I think he kind of did, just with all the feints and things that he would throw at Rory.
Yeah,
Either Rory reacted, and Musasi read it, and like because of an overreaction, or he didn't react at all and he got smoked with shots,
yeah,
which kind of gave him this like deer in headlights sort of look when they were standing. It wasn't a good look for Rory, that's for sure. And then even the second round, the shot that he went for, you could tell it was from far out, so there was a little bit of desperation there, and he even turned to his back immediately. So um, yeah, I don't know. I think I read something where Rory said he was just not mentally in it.
yeah. He said, yeah, he admitted he froze,
Yeah.
and I mean it. Now, obviously, I'm sure you remember that Robbie Lawler fight with Rory McDonald, and where Raleigh busted his nose. Where Robbie Lawler busted his nose up so bad that Rory was doing that. He was like, "Okay, I've had enough," type thing, you know.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I mean, the guy took a ton of damage in a 5 round war against Lawler.
Oh
That's the
yeah.
only time I've ever seen McDonald do that, except for on Saturday. It was
Yeah.
like, it was like he didn't want to be there,
Yeah.
and it just, we're talking a 10 pound difference. Obviously, the guys weren't. There wasn't much of a height or a reach difference, I thought, but I don't know. I'm very surprised. Now, coming out of this, is this more about how great Musasi is or how bad McDonald was?
You know, oh geez, good question, because that's like you could argue it either way, really.
Yeah, yeah,
Rory, obviously he had a hard time with the stand up. He can say he froze or whatever, but realistically, like, I mean, Gegard Mousasi is one of the best kickboxers in MMA, and you could tell the stand up that Rory looked like he wasn't on the same level. Which is why I thought with the more complete MMA game, I thought, he would fake some takedowns, throw a punch, like he did it. I saw him do it once actually, where he threw a punch and then went immediately for a takedown. Or no, sorry, it was reverse. He went for a takedown and then went over the top with a punch. And I thought we'd see a lot more combinations like that, where you're utilizing the full MMA game and not just playing Gegard's game. And but he didn't. And then maybe kudos to Musasi for making him do that. I don't know. Like, how did you see that?
I guess it's hard just because McDonald isn't known for doing that. It's hard not to think it's more about McDonald being off. But then again, the way Musasi manhandled him, he put him in that position. Musasi is the one who forced that result. So I agree with you. I guess you cut it both ways,
Yeah.
but I was surprised. What did you think of the Rampage Vanderlei Chapter 4?
Well, I think it ended the same way that, you and I had talked about on the show, with the knockout of Vandelay. I thought, it's tough because like I grew up watching those guys really like in 2005 and stuff. I loved those guys, but they looked slow, didn't look in good condition. And even Rampage seemed like he didn't like taking shots at one point. So
It makes you dread the idea of Chocolatito.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it makes you think if those guys, because they've been more active than those two guys have.
Oh yeah,
Rampage has been very active compared to the other three guys in that situation. Yeah,
yeah.
it was a predictable finish. Not impressed by anything. I like having Rampage around. He's just entertaining as hell. But
Isn't he?
and I've had the pleasure of being able to talk to him a couple times, and I hope he finds a way to stick around in the business afterwards. I guess is all I have to say. But I don't want to see these guys fight for a fifth time at all.
Nope.
I mean, I I don't even want to see DC Jones fight for the third time, so whatever.
I know where you're at.
That's another day. All right, so elephant in the room. This episode, obviously, we are days away from a fight. I never thought we'd see this fight. Conor McGregor is going to be taking on Khabib Nurmagomedov for the the lightweight title at Saturday's UFC 229 in Las Vegas. Did you catch the interview today with Ariel Helwani with McGregor?
Oh, the Ariel one I did not catch. I caught him on another interview though.
Well, probably the Mac Life. He owns that company, but it was still a decent interview. I thought that was interesting as well. Today when he was on Ariel Helwani's show, he was definitely the McGregor we've known. He was not the guy we saw at the press conference last week. He was old Conor McGregor today. And you know, he said a lot of things, but nothing that would make you think he's anything but focused. I mean, this guy is, you know, he's not. My initial judgment that I thought he was kind of erratic and a little off at the UFC presser last week, I think I was wrong.
Yeah.
And he definitely is the Conor that we saw. He reminds me of the Conor we saw going into the Aldo fight, which is bad news for Khabib if that's the case. Now,
if that is the case, yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you think that if Conor heads into this and he dominates, that we're going to be seeing him being more active after the fact? And if he loses, do you think he's going to lose any of that mystique that makes him a top-notch draw?
Okay. Wow. I think win or lose, he's going to be more active. I think right now he's kind of vocalized that too by saying like he wants to be more active. I know he's thrown out, you know, St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, Nate Diaz trilogy, all these fights that he wants, and even I heard he's interested in another Mayweather fight. So I think he is going to be. I knew you'd love that one. I saved it for the end. I think he's going to be more active. I think if he loses, it definitely takes away mystique, no doubt about it. I mean, you're putting that'll be his third or fourth loss in MMA, right?
It would be his loss to Joe Duffy, then another guy in Cage Warriors, and then Nate Diaz. It would be the fourth, I think.
Fourth, yeah. It does take away a little bit of that. Not very much, because when you look at, you know, when you lose to Nate Diaz at 170 pounds, well, you can kind of make the argument that it was at a bigger weight, you know.
But you would agree that it would be more damaging than the Nate Diaz loss, though.
Yeah.
Because that was a short notice loss. That was also a short notice loss, right? So
losing to Khabib is big, although I don't think it puts him in a bad spot in the 155 division. But just for his legacy and stuff like that, like it'll hurt a little bit. Yeah. What do you think? You think it hurts or?
Oh yeah. It would absolutely hurt him. You know, and I don't know a lot. You know, Khabib's pulled out of a few fights twice with Ferguson, obviously, and if it's injuries and things like that, that just happens. We can't get mad at these guys for that happening. It happens. You know, whatever. But I don't know. I kind of wonder about the Anthony Pettis, Tony Ferguson, because if something happens to Khabib, I think we're going to end up talking about a completely different fight on Saturday. You know what I mean? There's always that chance that Conor McGregor fights one of those two guys instead. And you know, I would hate to see that. What do you think?
Well, it would be a shame because, well, obviously the anticipation and everything for this fight, but you know, if they do that, I hope they give him Tony Ferguson. I think it's a more makes a little bit more sense than Pettis.
Oh yeah, definitely more than Pettis.
Yeah, and I'd like to see that fight just as much. So,
do you think that fight's being overlooked? Because I do. The
completely
Pettis fight. I mean, that could be a main event.
Absolutely good. Yeah, you're 100% right. It's totally being overlooked.
It's like, and Ferguson hasn't fought in a year, and when he left, he was, you know, interim champion.
Yeah,
had the belt stripped, and no one's saying shit. I mean, that's it. It's like no big deal.
I think they're almost on the card just as a backup in case something happens with this Khabib.
And after the UFC pulled that Usman thing, where they had Usman as the backup for the welterweight title fight with Till and Woodley last month, why wouldn't they do this? Why
Yeah,
wouldn't that be what they're doing? You know what I mean? Now this fight needs to happen just because Ferguson needs an opportunity to move forward. Pettis has been red hot, but Pettis is a former champion too, and in WC as well as UFC. I think
right.
people are writing him off. I think people are writing Anthony Pettis off a little too easily.
Yeah.
I've never been that impressed with Tony Ferguson. Um, Obviously he is where he is for a reason though. So I mean, it is what it is. But what do you think of that fight, and what's your fight pick for that fight?
Ooh. I do think right now, I know what you said with Pettis being red hot and everything. Very true. But he did go through a bit of a streak where he had some losses, I believe, too, right before that, before he got pretty hot. So, at one point in his career, he was looking very beatable. And, now he's got that gusto back, if you will. But I picked Tony Ferguson. I think right now other than Khabib, he's the man to beat in the division. Um, and I mean, a win over Ferguson for Pettis would just be massive, I think. Massive.
Oh
Like
yeah,
he's
oh
next in
yeah,
line for a title shot if he beats Tony
oh
Ferguson.
yeah, yeah. He would definitely up there. And I saw, I caught the first episode of UFC Embedded. And anybody wants to get a good look at the inside life of a fighter, I always love fight weeks because of the UFC Embedded episodes. I love those.
Yeah, me too.
And Anthony Pettis admitted today, this is a huge opportunity for him. He's not, playing this off or I deserve this or I deserve that. And so I think he is being underestimated. However, it's hard to go against Ferguson with what he's done. The only thing I will say though, he's been off for a year and Pettis has been fairly active. So whether that plays a point, plays a role in the fight or not, who knows? But I'm not going to be surprised if we roll into Saturday night and it's McGregor against one of those two guys instead of Nurmagomedov. I really won't be surprised. I'll be disappointed as hell, and we're going to have to go through this whole Khabib Conor thing all over again if that happens.
Yeah.
So, do you see with Conor Khabib? I know I'm straying all over the place here. Do
So,
you think with Conor Khabib, there's a result that would guarantee an immediate rematch, other than a draw, obviously?
other than a draw. I think if maybe Khabib like knocks Connor out, or something crazy where it's just like I think, or a referee mistake, like the fight gets stopped on one of those things, like Khabib has him down, pounding him out, and then the ref goes in and stops it, and Connor jumps up right away, and it clearly looks like he's fine, and he's complaining, and he's not wobbling. I think all those things would be, or vice versa, even if that happens with Khabib, Connor hits him with a shot, they go to the ground, Connor goes to finish, and maybe Khabib's rolling or trying to protect himself and get up, and then they stop the fight. And then Connor and Khabib gets up, same thing with the same reaction. I can see one of those things, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm all see when stuff early these early stoppages happen. I'm always the guy who says, "Well, just let them." You guys were keeping track of the time. You know what time the early stoppage was, so why can't we just reset and keep going? I hate when a ref step in; it's automatically over. It drives me nuts. So hopefully
Yeah,
we don't have an outcome like that. I mean that would just be horrible. I mean
that would be.
Conor McGregor made it very clear today. No matter what happens, it's never over between him and Khabib's crew and all this stuff. And that's fine and whatever, but he keeps going back to wanting to fight Woodley for the welterweight title if he wins on Saturday. And I mean, shit, we'll all sit there and buy it. I mean, that's at the end of the day what we're talking about here. This guy, he puts asses in the seat, and he makes people buy pay-per-views that they wouldn't normally buy. So it is what it is. I'm honestly just happy that he's back. You know what I mean? Just because love him or hate him, he's as entertaining as hell.
Yeah,
And for someone like me who does this full time, it's great because it's never boring. You know what I mean? So it's been, from a media standpoint, it's been interesting to have him back. Do you have any interest in seeing him fight Floyd Mayweather again? Be
uh,
honest.
any you know what, part of me
Oh Jesus.
says here, well, so here's the thing, here's what I'm looking at. I'm doing a little bit of math here, and I'm saying, okay, Mayweather's had one more year off, so he's another year older, another year slower. Connor's had a little more time, I think, to reflect on what happened in that fight. And obviously, he's been training over these past 2 years. I saw some footage of him, of his training, and his hands look so sharp,
Oh yeah.
which is what they need to be for this fight. But they look incredible. They look like boxers' hands. So I would like to see if he could go through another camp and see if he could correct what he did. I mean, maybe he comes out with a different style. The style he came in with, I get why he did it. To make that fight sloppy, to prove all the doubters, to prove all those people who said he wouldn't like even hit him once and stuff. But it just wasn't a good style for his body type, and the type of fighter that he is. I think he needs to play a little bit more. And he needs to work a couple more power shots and things like that, and less constant punches being thrown. So I'd like to see it. I'd like to see if he could make an adjustment. He did 10 rounds with the guy,
Maybe
and
they
he
could
hit it.
maybe they could just not have the whole like world tour thing ahead of time.
Yeah, I'm
You
okay
know,
with
like
that. I'm
cut the
okay with
media,
not doing that
cut
again.
the media out because I had to cover that
Sure.
last year and that was nauseating. I think I must have wrote I think I must have wrote about 100 articles about just that stupid fight, and I refused to buy it. I didn't watch it until after the fact. So and then I only watched it just because it's a novelty, right? What I dread is him going down the path of like Paulie Malignaggi fights, guys like that. Like I just don't care that I just let's keep him in the octagon. He's got a 6-fight deal. He just signed. Please just keep fighting because whether you love him or hate him, you're watching. You
So,
know,
but here's my thing with that. You know what? To be honest, I'd rather see him fight Paulie Malignaggi.
oh yeah, oh me too. Then Floyd Mayweather, yeah, but that would
Yeah.
mean he would stray so far from the octagon to be doing shit like that I just have no interest in it. It just but I hear what you're saying as and as someone like you who's trained like that, I get it. You know what I mean? I mean, and boxing is obviously such a huge part of MMA.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I don't care. Anyways, all right. Yeah, I just don't care. I can't do it. I can't even fake caring about that. And
Fair enough, man. Fair
so
enough.
okay. So before we wrap up, I'm gonna make you do this.
All right.
Who's winning Saturday main event?
Okay.
Who and how are they winning and what round?
Oh man, we're getting into it, eh?
Well, you have to knee deep,
Oh,
brother.
you know what? I've swayed a lot, and I've been the
Yeah,
whole
you
time
have.
like I've been like safe money's on Khabib, and I still kind of believe safe money is on Khabib, but
Really?
man, yeah, I think the safe money is there. Just when you think about stats and things like that, Connor only having one way to win versus Khabib having a couple of ways. But I don't know, man. When I saw those hands flying on Connor, I was like, "Oh, this is
See,
going to be really difficult for
stop
for."
middling, man. Make a pick.
Okay, you know what? Because I think I know who you think is going to win. Well, I'll ask
Well,
you
I think
anyway.
you'd be surprised.
Oh yeah,
Maybe.
I
Well,
think
probably
you know
not.
what?
Probably not. No, I'll tell you right now. I'm taking Conor McGregor in the second round for left hand
Okay,
knockout,
well,
clean
because you
knockout.
did that, because you did that, I will say, I think Khabib stops Connor in the fourth round on the
Submission,
ground. Nope. I don't think he's even going
just
to go
ground and
for a
pound.
submission. I think he's going to beat him into the ground in the fourth round,
Really?
and he will just beat him, and the referee will have to stop it. He'll be too exhausted to protect himself.
You're
Um,
sleeping
he'll
on
be
his
too.
ground
He'll
game. You're
quit.
sleeping on his ground game. I'm telling you.
He's going to quit. He'll quit on the ground.
You're
Like,
acting like Conor McGregor's got the ground game of Mark Hunt. I mean,
no, 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 no. I don't. You know what? I don't want. I've heard Eddie Bravo say some really good things about Connor's ground game.
oh yeah,
For all that being said, though, I also saw him get choked out by Nate Diaz. So.
yeah. And I
Um,
also saw him manhandle Chad Mendez, who's a
Yeah,
much
I
better
also saw
wrestler.
Chad
And
get off, but Chad got off the couch in less than a week notice and took him down at will, and
not
that was
my
a
problem.
145 pounder
True, true. But Nate was also a welterweight, and it was a 10-day notice fight. And
for
this see,
Nate.
this is bad. This is bad because now I'm being painted as like the biggest fanboy of Conor McGregor. I'm gonna lose my effing job here. All right, never mind. You that's not. I just think that Khabib will not be able to handle Conor's striking ability, and like everybody when he gets in the octagon with him, he
Hmm.
thinks it's one thing and it's another level. Also, I think Khabib's ground game could be that to Conor as well. I think Conor could be like, "Oh, I can handle this. I can handle this," and then, "Oh shit, what am I doing?" Like I'm in real trouble here. So, but no, I think just the left hand, just because it'll happen faster, and Conor, we all know, will swing right from the start.
But you think
A
it'll
pretty
take
good.
the second round to figure that out? I think in the first round, Khabib is going to get hit with that left hand.
Oh yeah, and the longer the fight goes, it seems like the less chance Conor has of a knockout.
Yeah.
To me, but I still think it's going to be third, second, or
Okay.
did I say second or third? See
Second, you
now,
said second.
okay, second. Yeah, yeah, second. I'm good. Yeah, it's a great pick then. Of course, yeah, sure,
Okay.
second. Why not? Second knockout, left hand. It's going to be left hand knockout, and he's going to put him out on the floor. That's my guess. But honestly, my wish is 5 rounds of war.
Not gonna happen,
That's
bro. Not gonna happen. Not
just let
gonna
me
happen.
believe. Just let me believe. It justifies dropping the $80 or whatever we got to drop to buy this nonsense. So, what about? And you said you like Ferguson.
Yeah, Ferguson. I think Ferguson submits him. I don't know what round I'm gonna. Well, maybe I'll say the third. Actually, by
I'm
that time,
taking
I think there'll be some beating down.
I'm taking
Get it in the third.
Ferguson by ground and pound in the second.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can see
I
that
like that.
too.
All right. So with that, thank you very much for joining me tonight, Darren. As always, and everybody
Thank
watches
you.
this. Check out all of our stuff on YouTube and Twitter. You can catch Darren at Daren Loucks on Twitter. He's new to Twitter, so please give him a follow. Catch me at Above Full Tie, and we will be back either before Saturday, probably. It's only Tuesday, so probably do something else before Saturday, and
Yep.
definitely after the fact to recap UFC 229 and everything that goes down on Saturday night. So with that, thank you very much for joining us, and this has been All 5 Rounds.